Everything is fueled from me wanting to be a better person on earth.
It's time to do your part.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Do Your Part. We're getting fresh voices from really interesting people around the planet, all walks of life. And today we're featuring Henry. He's 37, and he's from Gary, Indiana. And that's all I know about you. Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I'm well, man. How are you?
Living the dream, man.
I love it. I love it. That's a good answer. I think we all are trying to live the dream.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I don't know too much about you. Let me ask you this. I usually kind of open the conversation with this question. I know that you know Mitch, but why did you decide to come here and do this today?
I honestly thought I could have a positive impact. My voice could be heard. Because I don't do social media, I don't do... I'm not very social, but I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of, in my mind, solutions. This was an opportunity to be heard.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here and to share those. You don't do social media. Why don't you do social media?
Well, honestly,
Like you don't do Twitter, Facebook,
no, nothing.
Instagram?
Never have, never will.
Never even have had accounts?
No.
Okay, so yeah, why? Tell us.
I'm a private person, and I'll explain what I mean by a private person. Some individuals, they're open. They don't mind. You walk by their house, the shades are wide open, garage door open. And which it's cool. That's great. I'm just not one of them. I'm private. I like to keep everything, to myself. And the criticism sometime.
Yeah.
Criticism is good, constructive criticism, but you also have trolls. You also have people that just nasty. and I know myself. I don't want to deal with that. I'm not there yet to deal with all that.
Yeah.
So just don't do it.
You are like a unicorn nowadays.
I guess everyone tells me that. Everyone says, you don't do this, you don't do. It's almost like the majority now.
Yeah. It's true.
But even though you're the majority, it doesn't necessarily make it all right.
Look, I agree. I agree. I come from a thought of like non-conforming. It's like if everyone's doing it, I want to question why.
Yeah, why?
Right. But it's interesting because in today's day, cats have Instagram pages, babies have Instagram pages. So it's gotten out of control a little bit.
Yes.
And I understand when you talk about that you're a private person. I almost thought that you were going to talk about all of the negativity that's on social media, and that's why you don't do it. But it's more about it's a choice for you.
Yes, sir.
Because you don't want your business on the street.
Yeah, I was just a private person.
What do you have to say to all of, you said trolls, what do you have to say to all of the negativity that you're seeing on social media? Do you think social media is positive, or it's just not for you?
It's not for me, and it can go left or right. It can go good or bad. It's good to have information to get out and influence people. I mean, that is great. Before, you had the Pony Express. Now you have,
a click of a button.
Click of a button.
Yeah.
But there's a downside to that. Sometimes we could be the architect of our own demise.
Ooh, let me write that down. Hold on, architect. Is that your own?
Something like that.
Okay, I like that. It's true because of your own demise. It's true because I think as I get older, I just embrace and I get so excited at the idea that I am the architect of my own life. And it's so cool. And even like what I want to choose to think about and say and my message or what I choose to do with my free time, it's like, fuck it. I don't need to. Yeah. So I just love that idea. Architect of your own demise.
Yes.
All right, so let's get to the nitty-gritty, the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
Tell us about you. You're from Indiana. I want to hear about your upbringing. Give us your backstory.
Well, I had two amazing parents, and I was fortunate enough to have my mother and father in the house with me. A lot of my friends didn't, and I saw in a young age how that affected them, but I didn't. Some kids make fun of other children, like, man, I got my dad, you don't, you live with your grandma. I didn't do that. I was always taught that, shepherd the weak through the valley of darkness. Hey, show compassion. Oh, and don't try to throw it in their face, But I was, getting back on subject, I had my mom and dad, and my father was laid off the year I was born from United States Steel. This was
Wow.
1982.
Wow.
During the Reagan administration.
Mm-hmm.
My mother went on welfare. And see, that's another, stereotype that, oh, you're on welfare, you're lazy. No, my dad worked. He was an educated man. He just got laid off. The system is there for people to help them. Mm-hmm. It's those that abuse it. Mm-hmm. You have the ability to work it, then go do it and give it to someone that needs it. Mm-hmm. Well, that was my father. After 2 years of it, he ended up getting a job at a corrugated paper plant. And he worked that job forever. I have an older brother who is very intelligent. He's currently a teacher and a financial advisor in Dallas, Texas. He attended Andover, Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts. It's a prep school. And he was a foreign exchange student. I'm very proud of my brother.
Wow, I can hear it. Foreign exchange, where did he go?
He went to Japan. He speaks Japanese fluently.
I bet he does. Wow.
Yes.
And he's in Dallas, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go on.
At the age of 13, my mother passed away. And,
Oof.
yeah, that sucked. And a couple years later, I ended up moving to the state of Iowa. My grandmother did 37 years for EJ&E Railroad in the area, and she received 2 pensions, one from the government. The government owned the railroads, and then she got another one from the job. So she took a lump sum from one and bought the house where she grew up at, and lived off of the other one for the rest of her life.
So she was a rarity for the time. She was definitely she got herself financially situated.
Yes, she
Smart
was.
woman.
Oh, she was. My
All right, go
grandmother
ahead.
was very, very intelligent. Well, Gary, Indiana, it's not that was at one point considered murder capital before murder capital. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I just know it's known for the Jackson family.
Mm-hmm. And how do you become a murder capital? Is if you take how many people are, because you got Chicago that's right next to it, 20 miles, it's not that far away. Mm-hmm. It has a huge population, and more people are dying at a rate. It's the rate. Mm-hmm. You have only 100,000 people here. You compare the two, whoa.
It's per capita, right?
Per capita. Mm-hmm. So growing up in that environment, my dad said no. And my mother would always tell me, you might be from the ghetto, don't mean you got to act like it.
Your dad said no to what?
No of me being there, living there.
Got it.
He sent me
He wanted you out.
Iowa to live with my grandmother, which I love my grandmother, love my family. My grandmother's a 100% Caucasian lady.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, so you're mixed race? Mm-hmm. And your mother or father?
Black. Mother's black. My father is... His mother's white, and his father is half white and black.
Have you ever done your ancestry DNA thing?
I have my family tree.
Wonderful.
Actually. It dates back to Norway, 1726.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. We got a lot to talk about here. You said you brought that with you?
I know. I have it. I have the. My brother has that copy in Dallas, Texas, but I have pictures and everything on my phone.
Yeah. In a moment, I'm going to probably ask you to grab that and try to tell us a little bit about what you do know about your history, because there's a lot. That's a conversation in its own right there about how people don't understand that the majority of us are mixed race, and that some of us identify with other parts of our culture, just as you mentioned Norway. Yeah. That's something you know, so you might have tried to identify with that in your past.
Versus on my black side of the family, it's unfortunate it stops at a bill of sale. Because, if you say you were owned by Master Water Bottle. You took on Master Water Bottle's last name.
Right.
But how many times did this slave was sold? Every time you sold, you took on another master's last name.
Right.
But if you're not allowed to keep records, you can't read or write.
Right.
You're lost.
Right. And we have no connection to our heritage. You're right. What's interesting is that white privilege, and I talk about this in every show. It's very inflammatory for a lot of people. I do think somebody had mentioned this. I think it's a really smart example, but just the fact that a lot of white people, I don't want to generalize all, but a lot of white people can follow back and understand their history and their lineage and be able to visualize and be able to actually
it strengthens them.
Well, yeah,
it's strengthening. It's builds your confidence.
It all attaches to your identity and who you are and in which you relate to. And black people, we don't, just as you said, buck stops in the 1800s or 17 or 16.
For American blacks, however, in the Caribbean, because they were allowed to keep their customs, they were allowed to keep their language, etc., they can trace their lineage directly back.
Interesting. I got to bring somebody from the islands on the show.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. All right, so get back to talk more about your childhood, because what I
Okay.
want to eventually circle back to through this conversation is what racism looked like for you as a kid, how you learned about it, when you learned what the N-word was, and all of those things. But tell us more. Tell us more about your background.
So basically, growing up in the Gary area, it's predominantly black.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of singing Pledge Allegiance to the Flag, we would sing Lift Every Voice and Sing
Really?
in the morning.
Okay.
You know, or We Shall Overcome. That's what you sung, along with the Pledge of Allegiance, but it was taught.
Mm-hmm.
You were taught more than just the basic, I'm not going to say basic, but the more popular
standard.
black leaders like Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver. You learned about other leaders like John Horace, you know, etc. I mean, these are individuals that
Let me make sure I'm hearing you right. So what I'm hearing is when you grew up, the curriculum that you learned a lot about black history.
yes, it's no different from, say, you attended a
is
historical
fascinating.
black college. You're going to get an education, but you're also going to learn more of who you are.
Yeah, but you know that you had a very interesting experience just by that example alone, right? I vividly remember our American history book, the textbook, right? And it was very standard. It was kind of the what most of the nation learns. We didn't learn about black inventors, black historians,
Right.
you know, other civil rights activists besides Malcolm X
Right.
and Martin Luther King. So this is really interesting.
It's no different, I believe, in, you know, let's say Nazi Germany. Everyone says Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. See, Hitler had henchmen. Hitler had other people other than himself. I wouldn't necessarily call him henchmen, but he had other people that did his work in his name, did things in his name. It's more than just him.
Right. There's a lot more.
Yeah, just like the government. You know, the president's one person. There's the Senate. There's the House of Representatives. There's
Do you vote?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go back to talking about you as a kid.
So, oh yeah, I'm jumping off subject.
No, it's good. One thing I do is I'll keep you on subject. I'm sorry. But I want you to, this is what I want. Just normal, natural conversation. Go ahead.
So in Gary, learning these things, and then when moving from that to Iowa.
Culture shock.
Well, yeah. You know, you go from, hey, it's 9 o'clock, stay away from the window, there's people shooting outside, to
Shooting what?
guns.
Oh, right. But shooting, what are they shooting at?
Well, people. You know, yeah. I mean, a bullet has no name on it. You run past a house in a situation that happened, you know, we're eating Sunday dinner, and I remember the Three Stooges was on TV, and you hear a boom, and then another boom, and our front picture window gets shot out. Yeah, father's telling me, you know, get down, go call the police. My mom and dad's grabbing their guns. You know, come to find out, around the corner, a man got his leg blown off, bled out and died. But what if I were standing by that window, or my mom was standing by that window? Yeah, you know.
Sounds like the Wild West. Is this paint the pictures?
What I don't like is that this has been going on, sir, for as long as I've been alive. But it's interesting to me that it was no attention to it until President Obama got elected. Then everyone started talking about Chicago. Well, where was it when all this shit was going on? Because he didn't care. Wasn't marketable. You know, that's how I feel.
Do you think Obama was good for black people?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, but like you said, President Obama, he's one man.
And he's still a politician.
Exactly. He screamed for bipartisanship. Hey, let's work together. Nobody wanted to work with him. You know what I mean? It's like, that's another subject. But for me,
So moving to Iowa, I'm sorry.
I go to Iowa, and I lived in Clinton County. Well, in Maquoketa County, at one point, they were handing out flyers, recruiting people to join the KKK. This is when I was in high school.
In the neighboring county.
This is the late 90s. All right. But I had a huge amount of people who were very supportive, teachers, coaches, friends, my family, you know, who are white, that live out there. You know, it's funny. They'll be like, how the hell do you know him? Well, his grandmother is my grandmother's sister. So that makes cousins. You know what I mean? Like, it was, you know.
Was this their attitude prior to you coming to Iowa, or was this their attitude because of how they felt about you?
Well, both, I guess.
Okay.
You know, I'm not sure what their attitude was until they met me. All I know is, you know, you ain't got to like me, but show your respect. and they did. And then there was some that didn't. I just stayed away from them. My out was sports. I participated in sports, football, wrestling, track, in that order. And the cohesiveness of that outweighed any kind of racism. I mean, black, white, we were on the same team. And that philosophy of you could be black, white, purple, but here we bleed black and red, man. You know, that was our school colors. Like, and take that philosophy into society. Same in the Marine Corps. But it was great for me. Like, I didn't want to go move to Iowa. I'd stay at home with my dad. At 15, 16, I didn't understand what he was doing until I was in the 11th grade. And I thanked my dad. I said, thank you for doing this. Because, Lord, behold.
Did you actually thank him?
Yeah, to his face. We were fishing on Mississippi River. Vertical jigging for walleye. And I told him that because I know had I been back home and what was happening, I had friends that were getting shot, killed, I would have wanted some payback. And now I'm wrapped up in the same BS that probably got him. Like, my dad saved my life.
That's deep.
Yeah, because I know I would have, you know. Well, I am a Marine. I know me. I know what my principles, and, you know, I just would have been playing into the same bullshit that's keeping all of us down.
Yeah.
You know?
Know thyself. And you sounds like you did.
Yeah, I had no other choice, I guess. And, yeah, so, I mean, Iowa was...
I want to play
great
something
state
for
of
you.
Iowa. You know?
I want to play something for you. Mitch is going to kill me because I shouldn't do this during conversation, but I want to get your. Actually, you know what? Let me hold it. Actually, no. Let me do it. I'm going to follow through. I want to get your perspective on this gentleman's conversation.
I was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, in a single-parent household with 2 other siblings. In the projects, from the hood, had every opportunity to sell drugs, join a gang, steal, break into people's homes, rob, all that. But what made me different? Why did I not do those things? First of all, I had a mother that didn't make any excuses for herself due to her being a single parent, and she didn't even give us the room to make excuses for ourselves. She raised us right. She did the best that she could do. But even then, me and my siblings could have still made a decision to get out there and do what we wanted to do, in spite of her bringing us up right. Mama taught us it ain't about where you live or what you ain't got. It's about being thankful and appreciative for what you do have and making the greatest impact in that community that you're from. Moral of the story, blacks are not oppressed in America. It's a mentality.
Blacks are not oppressed in America, it's a mentality. At CJ_DASP, this is TikTok. This guy has a really strong opinion, and I'm looking to get him on the show. What do you think about all of that?
Well, yes and no. Yes, it is a state of mind, you know, I mean, because of the fact that I just said, you know, you have many black people who were in the same situation, but they managed to get out of it. So that right there proves that, you know, it is accomplishable to be what you know. Let me rephrase that. How could someone prove your superiority over me if I'm doing just as good as you or better than you?
Right. If you're proving that
I'm
you're
proving
better
it.
than, right.
However, there are people in positions of power that I don't give a damn how good you are. Submit. You're still going to be here. I got you here. I don't give a damn for whatever personal reason. So that's the oppression that, yes, there are people that I don't give a fuck how good you are, what you do. Your skin too dark.
And this is
and that's just a fact.
I listened to this today, and
I mean,
it struck a chord with me a little bit. And you know, I like his perspective, and I respect his opinion. But the last part, I was like, I don't know if I agree with that.
No.
Yeah.
Because again, I know what he's saying by for. Yeah, me. I could have did those same things. I could have. And I'm not even gonna cast. You know, some of those people are doing that because they ain't got no other choice. And there's a lot to it. I'm not, you know, I'm here to judge them.
Right.
They're my brothers. But also, I want to call them out when you're being wrong, you're being fucked up. Like, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Even people who are racist know what you're doing.
You're not stupid.
You're not stupid.
You know the difference between right and wrong.
okay, so now where are we going to go from here? You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to make it, like you say, excuses. No, I'm not going to make an excuse for anything. Do what is necessary, and anything that is worth doing isn't going to be easy.
Totally.
It's hard to let go of when you had your grandmother or your grand teaching you, telling these different things. It's hard to let, even in religion, I highly doubt that God is somewhere saying, you Jews are good. You Christians are all right,
Right.
you Lutheran, but you groups over here are all fucked up. What?
You don't highly doubt it. You know he's not doing that.
I know he ain't doing
And
it.
you obviously have a relationship with faith and religion, and it sounds like you
yeah.
know the Bible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I know it well enough. I'm not a pastor or reverend, but it's a great book. The Quran's a great book too. Anything that's holy and righteous. Now, some people take these to the extremes. I mean, come on, chill that out.
What, like Scientologists?
Oh no, like you have Christian extremists, you have
Gotcha.
Islamic extremists.
Yeah,
that take the literal word. I'm like, damn, I can't agree with that. Because a man wrote that book. Look at the word his story. Someone else's account. Usually that account goes to the victor.
I don't think people consider that.
Well, a lot of great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. That's Albert Einstein.
Say it again.
Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds.
That's what we're living in today.
Albert Einstein, so am I supposed to, I try to show compassion to the uneducated, to those that are not using their logic and common sense.
Which is the ignorant. You try to be compassionate with them.
But what happens when that runs out?
As I say, you try.
I try.
Yeah. Let's talk about some. Did you deal with racism? Obviously, you dealt with racism as a kid. We can do the math on that. Tell us about some instances, if any.
I'm wrestling in Iowa, and you could hear certain people yelling out "nigger this, nigger that."
Wow.
Okay, and like my man, he used to tell me,
Wow.
"Nigger's an acronym. Never ignorant, getting goals accomplished."
Never ignorant, getting goals accomplished.
Nigga. So,
Love it.
yeah, I would be a nigga for you.
That's right, and for life.
Yeah, and again, I think of my white family and my white friends. I'll never go against.
I cannot believe that.
Or generalize like that, because now I'm taking away from them. But I don't also want to take away from the struggle of my brothers either. Everyone's rioting, burning. They're not doing it for nothing. There's obviously something wrong. I'm not just justifying it either. I'm not saying.
But you understand
right.
why people riot.
I know why it's happening.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't get it. They're like, "Why are you burning down your own stuff?" Like,
it's because they're
deeper than that.
angry. They're frustrated. They have neither the resources nor the clout at the negotiating table, so they're taking the negotiations to the street.
Well said. That's what puts it very simply.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
That's
what I'm looking at.
But I also feel like what you said is factual. It's like it's all about actions, right? And if there's not a table for you to bring your frustrations or your concerns to,
don't wanna hear
and
it.
you're continually being told to shut up or you don't have a voice, just as you said, you're taking it to the streets.
I believe if you're being oppressed, you have one or two options. You can either conform or rebel. That's your two options.
Yeah.
Some people rebel, some conform. Okay, I'll submit. So fuck that.
Yeah, can you imagine you and I? If you and I were put in a time machine and back to like 1770 something in Alabama on a picking cotton? Like, how would you respond to that?
I'd end up probably most likely getting killed. But
Right.
then let's go back to that
Or
there.
killing yourself.
Well, here's the. I mean, you're smart, man.
Thank you.
There were two different types of slaves: those that were born free and born in bondage.
Yeah.
So someone who's born free, never forget that spirit.
Right.
They will continue to fight until no more. Versus someone that's born into bondage. That's all you know. That's all. That's your world. So
Right.
how are you going to be way
You have nothing to
different
compare
from?
it to. Yeah.
And
That's your life. You're grateful. You're probably coming from a place of gratitude. That's what you know. White people are better, and I am not.
etc., etc. Look at the
Yeah.
Jim Crow laws. Conditioning. Hey, uncle. Hey, you're not never call you Mr. or Mrs. They're quick to give you a title, doctor, professor, because they don't want to call you Mr. or Mrs. They only consider you a man. 3/5 a man, if I'm not mistaken. This is written in the laws. You know, how can you expect mercy or a fair shake from your oppressor?
It's not going to happen.
No.
That fair is not, that negates the whole idea of oppression.
So through establishing dialogue, establishing some kind of conduit, let go, open your mind. This goes out to all the white supremacists, black supremacists. Hey, we're in this together. Open your mind. You know good and damn well what you're doing. You know, is not. It ain't right.
Right, and is that the story you want to leave behind when you leave this earth? Is that the legacy you want to leave? As one of
I want to leave
and
a world
anger?
that children. I don't give a damn. I don't want to sound, children of all races, creeds, religions, etc. that can mingle, chill out, hang out, have fun,
We did as kids.
make money.
Kids don't see color.
Do you have? I mean, exactly. It's learned behavior. I honestly believe that.
There's so many. We have so many open topics here.
Yes.
This
Yeah. I
is,
mean, it's
I like how the conversation's flowing. I really do, and this is why I take notes. Before we circle back to a couple of these topics, and thank you for that example of. I still can't believe that wrestling story. That's just talk about a distraction.
Oh yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was raised in California. I never experienced situations like that, and just the thought of it is like, oh, how would I react? What would I do? I know you never know unless you're in it, right? So tell me a bit about your military background and what that was like for you, that experience.
I didn't do my ACTs or SATs in time. I was a full athlete, football, wrestling, track in that order for all the years I was in high school, and I did pretty well. And I didn't want to be a bum.
Good.
I said, damn.
That's a good choice.
I honestly, I didn't. My grandmother was retired. I didn't want to burden her. I didn't want to. My father, he was doing his living his life. My brother was in boarding school. I said, I always wanted to be a Marine. I have a lot of family that were in the military, so I signed up. 1 week later, they hit the World Trade Center.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I have proof of that.
A week after you signed.
Yeah.
So that really kind of fueled you.
Yeah, I just graduated.
That's a bad
from
choice of words, but you know what I mean.
Oh well, no. Yeah, you hit it on the head. I said, oh wow, but the gravity of it didn't really hit what just happened. And I remember my recruiter said, you're going to war, right? I said, yeah. I thought you just fucking with me. Then I get the call from my dad. Didn't you just sign on the Marine Corps? Yeah. You're going to war, right? I said it just like I said, oh,
wow.
Damn. A year later, I'm sitting in Kuwait. And
Boom.
I won a race, actually. I got to make a phone call. I was able, my reward is to make a phone call. And I called my dad. He didn't even know where I was at, operational security. And this time I can, tell, hey, where you? I'm in Kuwait. And I remember the last words of my father for a while before I talked to him again. He said, don't be a fucking hero. Come back to me. And I said, yeah, man. And hey,
but you got that. Did you understand what he meant when he said it?
And now that I got children, yeah, I know exactly what he meant.
Yeah.
And then check this out.
Don't be extra. Do what you got to do and get home.
The funny part about it was that I did do extra, and I still came back. I actually was, involved in a rescue mission that helped save Marines. My gunnery sergeant won the Silver Star.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good,
That's like a movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's an understatement coming from me.
He wrote a book about it. The I Am My Brother's Keeper.
Oh, okay.
I was in. I'm not. My name's not in the book, but I was in everything that he.
You're part of that story.
Yeah.
Tell us the name of the book again.
I Am My Brother's Keeper by Jason Duran.
I Am My Brother's Keeper by Jason Duran.
Yes, Doran. Gunnery Sergeant Jason Duran.
Wow.
Silver Star recipient.
You love that.
Oh man, I mean, it's one of the proudest moments of my life. And it was a year after that one of the gentlemen that I helped rescue, he came up to me and said, "Who's Lear?" And I said, "Me. Who wants to know?" I said, and he said, "I just want to tell you thank you for saving my life.
Holy shit.
I never had that happen before. That was, I want to say February of 2004. And I told him, you're welcome. Well, you know, as a Marine.
Were there tears involved with this?
No. You know, we're
Right,
Marines.
because you guys are just doing your job. We're Marines. You guys are just doing your job, though.
But that was a white man that told me that, too.
Yeah. I'll never forget you.
You know, and people in my platoon, etc., were white, you know, or
Did you deal with prejudice in your platoon?
I wouldn't say prejudice.
You would say racism?
Well, okay, let me give you an example. I come out, you know, me and my friends, we were all white t-shirt. Now, just because I got a plain white t-shirt on, most people, you know, if you're not, you know, hip to what's going on, they'll think, oh, you're a drug dealer, you're this, because I want a plain white t-shirt. I'm wearing a plain white t-shirt because white matches everything. Mm-hmm.
It's a good look.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fresh, it's clean. So, I had people that were over me. What do you think, you're back on the block? But they'll walk around with a dinner plate belt buckle on, and I tell them, you think you're back on the farm? Like, all right, I mean, what the fuck, man? Like, why do you care about how I'm dressing? Mm-hmm. Back on the block, what's that supposed to mean? Mm-hmm. And your proper civilian attire, shirt tucked in, this, I get that. But this extra shit.
And you'd respond to each time.
Well, you got to be careful because, you know, this person's got a higher rank than you. I mean, this person, you know, you have the UCMJ lawful orders, et cetera, but come on now. Is that always being followed? Is that always being, you know, it is what it is. And I didn't cry about it, though. But I definitely experienced it. A lot of us did. You know, my friend Tamario Burkett, may he forever rest in peace. You know, black man, he was in the Marine Corps. He got killed, but he used to have waves. Like, I have waves in my hair. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, hair's wavy. Yet, his gunnery sergeant, the person in charge of him, said, that haircut's eccentric. Eccentric? Because my hair is coarse and it's wavy. But you have somebody else over here, their hair, yeah, man, like shit like that. Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing is that when you would have to deal with situations like that, it was in your best interest to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, aye, sir. Yes, Sergeant. Or yes, that Sergeant.
So I don't want to get too therapy deep on you, but I wanted, like, what goes through your head, like, and what do you take? What's the takeaway from that? Because I would say that either they
would tell me that you're supposed to practice discipline, which is
right, that's where I was going. Of course, they're going to tell you that, and I get that. There's logic to that.
Yeah.
But what's the other side of that?
That you're in a position of power. You tell me you like it. You like it. I can tell this motherfucker I can do whatever the fuck I want with. It's like the police. Yeah, I am in a position of power, you know, so not all police, not all of them, but there are certain cops that, yeah, fuck it, I'm it. Who's gonna who massages the massage therapist? You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna tell me any fucking thing? Mm-hmm. But it's in the Bible, even the king eats from the field. Mm-hmm. You still gotta respect the people. The little guy, you know, we're all in this together. You can't abuse your power.
So let me take a step back. So what would be the takeaway for you as far as those moments are concerned? So you had to kind of digest those and just suck it up because it's part of the program and part of the process. Looking back on that hindsight, do you have anger attached to it, or it just is what it is? Or
I consider it business.
Got it. It goes in the business pile.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was business, man.
Wait, but those people that spoke to you that way, could you have a beer with them today? Or would you want to?
Sure can, because a lot of them...
Would you want to? That's a better question.
Yeah, just to find out, you know, hey, you still feel that way? Mm-hmm. Because of me, it was proven on the battlefield. That's where you can talk shit, say whatever the fuck you want, but when these bullets start flying, shit starts blowing up, where's your heart at then?
What's interesting, I got to jump in. What's interesting about you and your upbringing, and it really what was instilled in you from a very young age, it's this kind of...
We're taught not to run, man.
Well, yeah, but you have this kind of idea of the importance of camaraderie and team.
Yes.
And business is business, and there's so much structure that applies to life and your morals and your the fiber of you, a lot of you, is that, right?
Yes.
And it's always been that. Because most of us don't operate that way. You realize that.
I guess. Again, if I were into social media at all, I don't know what's going on out there.
Look, most of us, most of us are getting out of bed at like 10:45. I get up earlier than that. But, especially with COVID, like people just kind of move about life and they just kind of exist. It seems like you have, you're in line with your purpose, right? Or at least how you want to
try to
get
be.
to your purpose. At least you have the tools to be able to get to whatever your purpose is.
I believe there's rules to success. There have always been rules to success, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these people don't want to follow these rules. And I'm not going to go. I mean, there are many, many rules to success. One of them is, hey, get up early. You know,
How early do you get up?
Oh God, 3 o'clock, 3:45. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not I'm laughing with you. Listen, I used to work morning shows, and I had to get up at 3 a.m. to be at the station by 4. I was supposed to be in at 3:30.
There's reasons why, you know, I
3:30. So what time do you go to bed?
sometimes like maybe even 10.
Wow.
11. I can't sleep.
So you operate off of 5.5 hours sleep.
Yeah.
Do you have PTSD?
Yeah. Bad. Yeah.
What do you do for yourself? You smoke weed?
Yeah.
You smoke a lot of weed?
Yeah.
Do you take psych meds?
No, never have. Thank God for that.
Why do you say thank God for that?
Well, I had a lot of friends that did, and they're zombies, man.
Well, okay, hold on.
They
Let me-
can't
let-
function.
Right. So let me rephrase that. Antidepressants specifically.
I don't take any kind of pills, period.
But do you think that the friends that they were taking, I think they might have been taking things more like lithium, like heavy stuff?
Maybe, I don't know, but I think they were bamboozled.
Okay, no, because this is another conversation.
Yeah, they
I'm a huge proponent of psych medication for people that need it. Either
you know,
if it's,
if you truly have a brain chemical imbalance, etc., then yeah.
but there's chemical imbalance and there's also situational. And a lot of people, there's times where you can take psych meds for a period of time to get through something, right? Oh, this is rich. Let's take a step back. So, do you meditate?
Yeah,
Do you really?
when I listen to certain music.
Yeah,
Yes.
you do. So as far as your PTSD, and I can tell, I won't go too far into it.
It's all right. It's all right. You know, we can talk about it.
So you said you have it bad. So I can
Yeah,
imagine that a lot of that is in your dreams.
Sir, I could be somewhere and have a conversation with someone, hear a song, and I'm ready to fucking cry. It's horrible, man. A certain smell, oh man, it goes right. I'm like right back. It's hard to explain. But I deal with it, man, because people are counting on me. Again, I have children. I have a lovely lady that
How many kids do you have?
2.
Got it.
I have a son in Australia.
What?
Yeah, his mother's Australian.
Your baby mama's in Australia?
One of them. And I hate to say that. I mean, like, oh, my baby mom, like, you know.
That's me. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's her and I. We started out well, ended horribly. But if she's listening, you know, I see where I fucked up at, you know, and I don't know. I repent, change your ways. I'm a changed man. You know, I still got a lot of work to do. But yeah, one of the things she said, you know, you're a great guy. Just when you get mad, when things you know it happens, fuck, man, you know, yeah, really, yeah. And she went back home with my baby. Sad story, but that's what I had to deal with because I wasn't well, wasn't right.
But you looks like you do the work and you're getting better every day.
Trying.
It looks like you are.
I take it one day at a time, sir.
Yeah,
It'll never. It's something that's never gonna go away. It's never gonna get better. It's always there. It's like a black fucking cloud that comes over me. But I learn different. How could I say? Different methods to keep a hold on it, keep control.
So I want to challenge you on the fact that I think it could get better, and I hear you because it's your experience. I could never even imagine what it's like, but I feel like as I get to know you and hear you, you really, I think you get it as far as what life is supposed to be, you know, and you're doing the work on yourself. I always tell listeners, it's like whatever that looks like, male, female, whatever age you're at. I'm in my 40s. It's important that I'm whatever that looks like, doing the work on myself, and you're doing it.
There's no book that says, "Hey, turn to page 28, the book of life, how to deal
Right.
with what it doesn't exist."
Right.
You deal. Cards you dealt.
But you also
However
prepare.
you do it.
But things like meditating, things like talking, things
Smoking
like,
a lot of good marijuana. good marijuana.
But it's one thing to get stoned, but it's another thing to do something with your
I
feelings.
utilize it.
Do
See,
you-
that's just it. Like some people smoke and oh god, I'm so fucked up right now. Okay, I'll get stoned and I'll clean the fuck out of my house,
You're one of those.
or I'll go run hike with It
You're
helps
productive.
me.
Yeah.
It helps me sleep.
Have you ever gone to therapy?
Yes. Shout out to Dr. McKelvey.
That's right.
I mean, the man's a intelligent man, because some people say, and that's another thing, mental health.
Yeah.
Wow. Even with all this racism, even with all this what's happening in society, but these people are not mentally healthy.
Right.
And I'm here to say it. Like, you know, I'm not a doctor. I don't give a fuck. Like, you're not mentally healthy. They don't value it. They say, I'm not crazy. I tip my hat to all the doctors out there, the therapists in the mental health field, the counselors, because think about it. If you're not right, how the hell could you help anyone else? These people obviously studied, are more educated. They know more than I do on how to deal with these situations, cognitive behavior, et cetera, et cetera. Why is that not being valued? Look at our prison system. Half these people do not belong in a department of you need to be in a mental hospital with professional help, etc.
Here's a random question for you.
Sure.
If you were to try to, obviously we can't pull statistics. I don't have a laptop in front of us, and you probably couldn't pull this statistic. But if you were to try to take a stab at the percentage of Americans who suffer from some sort of mental illness, what would that percentage be?
70%.
70%. That's okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Look, I get it.
70%. I mean,
I would say more.
Probably, you know, because no one values it. You don't hear.
Well, they don't understand it though.
pushing.
But they don't understand it. People don't understand what mental illness is and what that looks like for them. We're in a society where we deal with stress, anxiety, we deal with infidelity, all these things. It's just part of the story that we're all supposed to deal with, and that starts to it literally infest and and coat you, right,
Yes.
and tear you up. But that's just what we're supposed to deal with. There's mental illness in all types of different fashions. Go ahead.
And if more people, okay, I'm having these issues. Well, let me seek, help. The hardest thing, to show true courage. This is, of warriors is to go ask for help.
Right. Reach out.
If at first you don't fucking try again. You quit and you ask for help. Hey, 1 + 1 is 3. I'm gonna try again. You fucking idiot. No, 1 + 1 is 2. Now the most important question: how did you get to? Now you're learning. I mean, stop. Everyone stop. Ask for help. If you keep going in circles, I mean, what the fuck? I mean, that is the definition of insanity. Yeah. Doing the same thing over and over again, you expect a different result every time you do it. You just keep doing it.
You understand the benefits of asking for help, it seems, and that's helped you get to where you are today.
By the grace of God, I have people that help me.
So what about people that there's too much pride and they're just too stubborn, especially in today's day, that don't want to, we can lead them to the water, but they don't want to drink. What do you have to say to those people? There's a lot of men and women, but a lot of men are just stubborn. They're just like, I don't want to go to therapy. I don't have mental illness. I don't have this. I'm right. Yada, yada, yada.
Back to that architect of their own demise.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. You're great.
That's
I love it. Look at you. You're taking me back. You're doing one of me.
No, those people are. This goes to you. You are being an architect of your own demise, and that demise doesn't necessarily have to be death. Yeah. Demise in other ways, losing your family, losing your connect, your overall. You're not having a very productive lifestyle, etc., etc. When I feel nasty or do something bad to someone, I feel bad. You're being a racist, you're being a dick to somebody because of what the fuck are you gaining out of that? What'd you gain from that?
Literally, what did you get from that?
What did you get from that? What is it,
And more importantly, how did that affect the world?
You be a part of the solution, not the problem.
I say that often, and that's a big part of the mantra with what we're doing today.
Yeah.
So, and I love it because we're all over the board, listeners. I know you've been able to keep up with us. This has been fantastic.
I my brain starts going off, and I just kind of take those situations and I can just bring it back to so much stuff. But I'm sorry.
No, don't ever apologize because you're making sense, and this is exactly what we want to hear. Is really about what's going on in that melon of yours. Hold on, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Because getting back to the podcast and the purpose of it's talking about underlining prejudice, bias, putting a mirror in front of all of our faces and figuring out if and what those issues are within ourselves. When you enlisted into the military a week before 9/11,
Yeah.
and then you then kind of rode the wave. Did you find that you were prejudiced towards Middle Eastern people? Did that automatically come with?
No, and I'm going to tell you something straight up. Those people are just like me and you. Mm-hmm. For anybody out there listening, those people that are labeled as terrorists and this, that, they're fucking just like me and you. I say God, they say Allah. I pray with my hands together. They put, just the customs are different. It's the same shit.
Right.
When I met them, I had people come up to me, most of the black troops, and say, hey, you know where you're at? You're at home. Wow. You're home. You're in the cradle of civilization.
Yeah.
The name Iraq means the land between two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates.
I never knew that.
It's all there. Mm-hmm. I've got pictures from Babylon. I mean, the history is... I just believe that the United States made a mistake by choosing a side. You had the Shia and the Sunni. Well, we chose a side. You know, Saddam Hussein was Sunni. We sided with the Shia. Big mistake. Mm-hmm. We should have, when we took over, we should have established order. Because that order wasn't established, you opened it up for the insurgency. People who weren't even from the fucking country who came in, and who's in the middle? The Iraqi people. Mm-hmm. So what happens if, you had a lot of mistakes that were done out there, and you had some things that were done that were necessary. However, there were people that were, in the crossfire. And they got hit. Now, say this water bottle has nothing to do with nothing. He gets shot, get killed. But now this person's dad is like, damn, someone shot my water. Now here's this asshole insurgent. Hey, damn, that sucks. You want to get some payback? Join us. Mm. Now that person who has no real, straps himself up with explosives, will blow himself up. How do you defeat an enemy like that? That's someone who's willing to kill themselves just to get one of you. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that's what you ask the average soldier, you willing to give your life for that? They just want to go home. They just, hey man, I want to do the job and go home.
Well, hold on. So let's hover on that. Because if they just want to go home, how many people are there and regret being there? And what do you have to say about like draft dodgers or people that say they're not willing to fight for their country?
Here's the thing. You're an idiot, you don't want to fight for this country. Oh, I'm very patriotic. It's the United States foreign policy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And understanding the difference.
Yeah, man. Like, you can't go to someone's country. And if the country, the majority of people don't want you there, then you need to respect it, man. Don't, label...
It's not stay out of other people's business.
Goddamn, man. But see, again, this is above my collar. Maybe there's, now let me get back on subject as far as being a patriot joining the military. You're dodging the draft. No, I don't believe in that at all. Mm. I love the United States to the max. We're better, though, than some of the things that we're doing. Mm-hmm. Why do you think some of these people hate us? And
this isn't reduced to the Trump era. This has been part of our legacy for decades.
Pretty much after World War II.
Yeah.
This...
Because I think we live in a space where everybody likes to blame and point, so it's like, let's blame Trump. But a lot of people don't understand the fundamentals of government and how things have operated or lack thereof for decades.
So diplomacy, hey, we talk, but when diplomacy fails, they send me. Mm-hmm. I can't talk to you no more, so I got to send force in. Some people roll with it, some people don't. Mm-hmm. Those that don't, well, hell. So one man's freedom fighters, another man's terrorists. Mm-hmm.
Would you go back?
If I had the same guys.
What if you didn't?
If I got called upon, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the oath that I took.
Right.
That's
the commitment.
Preserve this great nation. What I plead and beg the powers that be, if you're going to send me over, send me for something legitimate. Mm-hmm. Meaning, hey, these fuckers attack someone that's done harm to the United States. Or, hey, someone want to do harm to the United States, and you have proof that they want to do harm, hey, I'll go.
All right, let me ask you this. What do you have to say to terrorist groups such as KKK and white supremacy groups here in the States? What our lack of action on that?
Well, here's the thing. Some people say, here's the controversy. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, these are just facts. Go ahead.
I believe, say for there's a restaurant. Hey, we don't want no niggers here. Okay.
You're entitled to that.
I believe that.
Okay. Yeah.
Why am I going to force want to be somewhere where I'm not wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand
If
that.
someone says, okay, hey, you know what? I don't deal with black people, and who am I to force it down their throat?
And here's the deal. Here's the deal. If they can convey that opinion respectfully,
there you go.
I get where you're going with this.
If you can do that respectfully without, I mean, like, KKK, all that has a lot of history. I'm not taking away from all the bullshit that they have pulled against our ancestors. Mm-hmm. You know, you murdered, you lynched my ancestors, okay? You did all these horrible things that, you know, no one talks about. Hey,
just you talking about them recruiting in your neighboring county in the late 90s.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah.
The ancestors, this is our brothers and sisters, right?
However, in that, brothers and sisters, not all skin folks kinfolk.
Oh, yeah.
I've suffered a lot of persecution and bullshit from my own damn people than this so-called white enemy. So how, you know,
talk about that. Stretch on that. Well, and I want some examples, please.
How I'm talking to you right now, I pronounce all my vowels and still, you know, I
you speak proper.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, you're too white. You talk white. Or my skin's not very dark. You watered down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, motherfucker, you don't even know me. You don't know where I came from or what I'm capable of doing. But you have a fucking opinion. And this is from my own damn people.
And when family reunions or when you're in those situations, do you speak up?
I'll speak up anywhere, but, you know, I'll be honest with you, I haven't been to many family reunions, et cetera, et cetera. You know, no. You know, again, I'm a private person. You know, but I know a lot of like I say, people who, and I know why they do it because of the past. When you listen to your grandfather, listen to your mom, all these things, you really want to know black history, you're going to get angry. You're going to get frustrated, start reading about all this shit.
Right.
Now, how are you going to convey this energy into something that's going to pay off? Mm-hmm. That's anger, this frustration. Mm-hmm. That's difficult. Yeah.
What are you going to do with that energy?
And again, like I said earlier, when you have no resources or clout at the negotiating table, you can't. You're dealing with somebody that don't really care. Here, I'll give you some. And when I want to see Mitch McConnell, and I say this because, you know, Mitch McConnell, he's head of the House, or not the House, but he's a big senator, correct? Mm-hmm. I like the day Mitch McConnell goes on national television.
Go ahead.
And say, hey, you know what? I'd like to apologize for what the actions of my ancestors have pulled. Mm-hmm. And let's have an open conversation how we can make it right. Of all the heads of the Confederacy, and I say the Confederacy because look what happened when Obama got elected. All 11 states voted the same. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Damn near all of it. Right. I mean, you just saw the Civil War get fought all over again. Like, seriously.
Literally. Yeah.
Literally. But imagine those leaders, wherever you guys are at. You guys come out and acknowledge it. Say, hey, you know what? We fucked up. Mm-hmm. Now, the matter is to say money. Okay, if you don't want to necessarily give money, then, hey, set up a program, a legitimate program. Have a legitimate conversation about how you're going to make this right. Not just, oh, fuck it.
Mm-hmm. Sweep it under the rug.
And then you're going to keep having these problems. You're going to keep having people fucking up. You're going to have all these dumbass organizations doing this. You know, you're going to have all this shit if you don't want to address it. Mm-hmm. It's like in a relationship with a man or a woman. You know you fucked up. Oh, I don't want to talk. Well, then there's always going to be this butting heads. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me where
that issue's not going to go away. Right.
How can I make it right? Mm-hmm. Now, don't overdo it. And what I mean by overdo it is, start thinking of things that are not inconceivable. Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't give me $1 million. No, this is going to take time. Mm-hmm. We're talking 400 years of fucking bullshit, man, worldwide.
When people say reparations right now, what does that look like to you? What does that do to you?
Oh, God. Let's go back to 40 acres and a mule. This is the late 1860s. You were supposed to be granted, so, for slave. And what happened to that? A lot of the rights, a lot of benefits that were supposed to be given to African Americans were given to Native Americans. That's where you get your $5 Indians and things like that, the dole tag, et cetera, et cetera. You know, no one's raising Cain on those issues that I wish I had my phone. I had it written down exactly the year and what it was. That was what that 40 acres and mule was meant for. And it was never granted.
Well, it was granted to some, right? And then
it's. I wish I had this
and
paper
some were
with
offered,
me. I don't want to say it wrong. What I would do is I'd say look up Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson.
Paranomics.
Black Powernomics. Powernomics.
So POWERNOMICS. And his name again?
Dr. Claude Anderson.
Claude Anderson. Okay, go ahead.
Because that man can explain it better than I can. I had it written down, but
No, this is good because at the end of this discussion, I'm going to ask you for some solutions, and you've already given me two authors and two books. So continue.
one of the things that happened after, the end of slavery was, okay, now you've been granted, freedom. What are you going to do with freedom? You don't know how to read. You don't know how to write. You don't own anything. So they went back sharecropping. They actually went back to the same plantation which they were trying to get away from.
Right. With all those awful memories.
And then some went west. And tried to start and do for themselves, and well, look what happened. A lot of this great Western movement, land starts getting taken. So reparations, I mean, damn, what? No, I don't have a clear idea what that would look like or what that would be. Because money doesn't solve everything. Solves a lot, but it doesn't solve everything.
And the things it doesn't solve are the kind of really important parts.
Well, think about some of our black leaders. Either you got assassinated or you sold out. You got bought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What about everyone else? I
Some speculate that defunding the police, quote unquote, or whatever that looks like, some people say that could be a form of reparations by taking some of that money and putting it back into black communities. I don't necessarily know if that's a bad idea or a good idea. Obviously, we need to see what that plan looks like. But
I wouldn't defund the police because at the end of the day, something happens. You call it,
and so and that's why I put the quotation marks around it. Right?
You call it. You got.
Well, I still think that defund again is the wrong word. I think that people want the real idea of that is to reallocate some monies to other create new agencies for people to be able to assist with the police, such as dealing with people with mental illness. But that's just an example.
Or take that money and put it. So give the people that are in these communities, whether it be white, black, purple, something that they could do with their time.
There you go. That's something
constructive that you can do with your time.
All right, so go deeper with that. What does that look like?
Well, I mean, if you had,
you talking about a YMCA, or are you talking about a community garden?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. YMCA, community garden, basketball courts.
Right.
If not just so much sports, but education. Hey, we're going to learn how to do bookkeeping. You're going to learn how to do taxes. You're going to learn how to do a skill that
Life
you become
skills.
a valuable member of society.
Yeah.
And I believe that sometimes the powers that be thinks that we just want a handout. Nah, man, I want to earn it. Tell me what I got to do to earn my place. Not
I want to do the work.
Yeah.
And see the fruits of my labor.
I don't want a handout. No, that's not what we want.
The examples you just gave, do you see this community, or do you see people doing these things, such as having classes about bookkeeping?
Sure, because you might have 200 people, out of that 250 are going to latch on if it were available.
So next Tuesday, everybody, at the park in Palm Desert, Henry is going to be teaching 20 people how to bookkeep.
Now watch out. No, but honestly, that's right. See how many people.
I like your
show up.
reaction. That was a joke, but I like it. You're dead serious, and that's the thing. It's all about actually getting involved.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just doing something, right?
Doing your part.
Doing your part.
Doing your part.
I mean, love it.
It's no one man or woman's an island. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs a helping hand. But how can I say this? Not all money's good money. And a helping hand's a helping hand, rather clean or dirty. But still, you don't want to be in anyone's pocket either. And that's this little magic word called corruption. Oh, you want to? You want this? You want that? Sure, no problem. But what are you gonna do for me? That's politics too. Oh, you want this? I sit on this board, or I sit on this committee, etc., etc. Yeah, I can get all that done. But what are the fuck you gonna do for me? And why don't we get rid of that? And let's just operate clean, straight. Wow, imagine that.
Well, it's an interesting concept, but what you're really, and what I'm hearing from you is something that I try to practice myself, and it's again every one day at a time. But it's really about being selfless, doing things because they need to be done, not expecting things.
Yeah, and that's what I've tried to say.
Yeah,
if we could do that. John F. Kennedy, don't ask what your country do for you. Well, what can you do for your country? Going back to dodging, the country asks me, hey, go. I guess I'm going to have to go for the better good of this nation. There's things bigger than me. Yeah. And it doesn't matter the race. It ain't got shit to do with it.
But those are all examples of what gives us purpose, gives you purpose.
That's my purpose. I'm not saying for every American to, that's me.
Yeah, but for the 33-year-old stoner who just really kind of eats Taco Bell and watches Family Guy and doesn't really do shit, it's like these are examples of how you can live life with purpose and meaning.
Yes.
How you can give back, and how you can do your part. I think what's interesting about being selfless, and I learned this from my therapist, like when you're feeling shitty or you're feeling down, go do something for somebody else. Fine. So I'll go to the 99-cent store and buy a bunch of water or Gatorade or flip-flops or umbrellas.
Shit makes you feel great.
It does. It makes me feel better because, and again, it's a selfish act, but it's coming from a selfless place, and I want to help others. And what when you do that enough times, you understand that concept enough times, and it really starts to shape who you are, and again, your true purpose. And I think that if people understand that, you want to leave a legacy, right? You don't want to just be here and exist and bounce.
My children are my legacy.
See, you're lucky. I don't have kids. I got a dog.
Well, I mean, my son and, my sons, they are my legacy. Mm-hmm. What to those that do have children out there, whether you're white, black, Mexican, purple, what are you teaching your children? What world do you want for your child? If you can't do it for me or yourself, think about your kids, man. Mm-hmm. Adolf Hitler, I always quote this.
Are you practicing what you preach? Do you do?
Yeah.
You're with your hands on with your. Yeah, right.
He's there, man.
Right. Good.
If you want the future, Adolf Hitler once said, you want the future, get the children. They are the future. Literally.
Yeah.
They're my legacy. What do I got? What am I passing on? What am I giving him to go on? And who's going to listen to you more than your child?
Yeah, but it's scary because I remember being a kid and how malleable, how easily persuaded, how peer pressure, and you could hear something and say, "Oh, it's the truth. It has to be." Because you have nothing, you don't understand really reason.
And that's where social media could be poison.
Totally. Yeah.
I tell anybody, even double check, triple check all your sources. Mm-hmm. I used to write papers in school, footnotes. Where'd you get lists? Where did you get this information from?
The source.
Your source.
Well, that's what we learn in school. If you were taught right.
If you were taught right, yeah. Not all schools are built the same.
Right. No, you're right. But I need show your work.
Show your work.
Yeah.
And it's the same in information. I mean, if you're being, what are you teaching your kid? Mm-hmm. Social media, yeah, there's so many distractions, but I believe with good parenting, you can overcome that. There's a line in the Bible that says, I don't want to be rich because then I'll forget God. Then I don't want to be poor because then I will still have to curse his name. Fear God, which means to just hate evil, and you can avoid them both. Mm-hmm. I hate evil. Mm-hmm. Stop being fucking evil. It feels good sometimes to be evil. Yeah, fuck this motherfucker. Yeah, how's it feel? Stop that shit. Because whatever you do to somebody is going to come back to you tenfold. This world is like this fucking it's a circle, man. Goes around, fucking comes around. Might not be today, might not be next year, but it's coming.
Can't escape it.
Karmatic debt, man.
Let me ask you this, because we spoke before the interview, and I asked you for two things. So we're going to get to those things right now.
All right.
So before I ask you for some solutions, and you already gave us some, which were fantastic, I'd like for you to take this moment to just a message for the people. What would you like for them to hear? If you had to say one thing to everybody, what would it be?
Compassion. Show compassion, man. Simple compassion. You see somebody that's hurting, they're fucked up, and you have the ability to help, no matter who you are, fucking help them. You're bringing us all up. Everyone's coming up when we do that. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, black, white. Compassion. Show compassion. Understanding. Try to figure out, hey, you know what, why are you so upset? Why are you, man? And listen, even if it's something that you don't agree with, hear them out. Be a good listener. Keep an open mind. That's what's killing all of us. It goes back to the, what's the story? Ever heard of the rattlesnake theory?
Maybe. Remind us.
All right, folks, rattlesnake theory. One day you open your door, there's a rattlesnake right there. Oh, shit, it's a rattlesnake. And you give it a mouse, it goes away. And you come back, rattlesnake is still there. You give it a mouse, he goes away. Third day, you give it a mouse. He's at your door, give it a mouse, he goes away. Fourth day, you get ready to pick it up, and he bites the shit out of you. Oh, Mr. Rattlesnake, I've been feeding you. I've been taking care of you. I've been trying to help you out. Why did you bite me? And the rattlesnake looks at you and says, hey, dumbass, I'm a rattlesnake. I bite. That's what I do. But see, you knew that before you fucked with me. Mm-hmm. You did it anyway. Mm-hmm. That's one analogy with people, dealing with people, man. You know what you're dealing with before you deal with it, so why are you doing what you're doing? Mm-hmm. I'll give you another one. Here's a turtle and a scorpion. Scorpion comes up to the turtle and says, hey, I need to get across this water. I need to get to the other side. Turtle says, man, you're a fucking scorpion. You're going to fucking stab me and you're going to kill. No, I'm not doing it. Scorpion says, man, I promise I'm not going to fucking do it. I just need to get to the other side of that water. Turtle says, okay, cool. Come on, hop on. Scorpion gets on his back. There you go. Everything's fine. Turtle says, you're not going to bite me, right? No. He gets right in the middle of the fucking water and Scorpion fucking stabs the shit out of him. Turtle looks at him and says, you dumbass, you just killed us both. Compassion, man. Mm-hmm. Fucking compassion, man. I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like that it's an analogy, yes,
yeah.
But
well, we love analogies here, and I like that because truth be told, always still be the turtle.
He showed him, hey, look, I know you're fucked up. I know you guys are fucking on some bullshit, but I'm looking for the good in your heart. Mm-hmm. Just don't fuck me over it. I'll still show that come on. But if you do this, you're going to kill us both. Not just me. Mm-hmm. You're going too. Mm-hmm. Well, we could both get to that other side of the water if we fuck with each other, man. Mm-hmm. Give a fuck what you're doing. Mm-hmm. One thing I will say, whatever your narrative agenda is in the world, don't respect people and don't be such a bully if they disagree with you. Mm-hmm. Agree to disagree, man, and don't want to cry about this shit. There's a lot of things I probably said today. People are like, oh, who the fuck? And there's people that agree to disagree. It's all right. Back in the day, we had played football. Hey, I'm with the Niners, and then you're with the fucking Steelers out here. We talk shit, but at the end of it, hey, let's buy a beer.
Right. That's a good example. Yeah, because you're definitely disagreeing in every sense of the word, but you're still able to be friends at the end of the day.
Nowadays, you say the shit, and then you're going to lose your job. Or you're this, or this, or this, or this, or that.
Or you're blasted on social media.
God damn, man. Like, that is annoying. It's a horrible... I can't stand the shit.
Well, that's why you're not a part of it. And I like that about you. And take notes, too. Social media, we need you on it so you can be able to listen to the podcast. But if you choose not to, we respect it. All right, so before we say goodbye to you, give us a few solutions. We have two. I'm going to read them. Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson.
Yes.
And then the second book that you suggested was I Am My Brother's Keeper by Jason Duran.
Yes.
What else can you include as far as solutions for people before we send them off?
Solution for me is to educate yourself in every way, shape, or form. Education is the way up, it's the way out. Mm-hmm. And you know, education, that's all I can say. You know, education. Be educated. It's not for everybody, you know, but try it.
Ah, that's funny. Well, look, it depends on what you're going to educate yourself on. We like specifics. And you gave us 2 things. So those are the solutions.
I would say educate yourself then on mental health.
Uh-huh.
And educate yourself on different cultures of the world.
Okay.
Don't cast judgment against someone until you know what they're all about. Don't be afraid of drowning until you learn how to swim.
I like this. So educate yourself on mental health.
Yes.
And the other was culture, you said.
Yes, other people's culture. You know what? What I do in California probably isn't what's done in the hills of West Virginia.
Yeah. Or the hills of Bahrain, or
correct.
You know, Prague, etc.
But if I took the time out to, hey, you know, how you do that? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you know, you become way more knowledgeable, mm-hmm. and you can perpetuate this through time, man. All this positive stuff.
I love it. I love it. So here's what we're doing: solutions. Educate yourself specifically on mental health and the importance of learning other cultures. If we're lucky, I'm going to ask Mitch. Maybe we can throw up a few links for you guys, especially with the mental health and the importance of it. A big thank you to Henry today. As always, we like to invite our guests back, so there's a good chance you'll be seeing Henry. But you can't find him on social media because he's not there.
No,
so that's
but
all right.
I do appreciate you having me here.
Yeah.
For those that are listening, you know, I hope I did not offend anyone, but if I did, you know, it's just business.
And learn, if you're offended, try to, I would say, learn why.
Yes.
Educate yourself on why and what you were saying.
Who knows? We can be the best of friends at the end of it, you know, and I'd like to see that.
I love it. All right. I appreciate your time.
You're my hero, man.
Oh, stop. All right. You're my hero, too. And so are you, all of you listeners, loyal listeners and new. We appreciate you. That's a wrap for us. As always, do your part, and we love you. Take care of each other.